Good morning, those who live on this great planet Earth, created by God in the beginning. And how he did it is explained in Genesis. And it's a little mixed up with what we know from our own experience and from what we learned in our science class. So here we are spinning around at 1,000 miles an hour. That's at the equator. And we look up in the sky, and it looks like the sun is moving across the sky at 15 degrees an hour. We look at the moon, and we see it's moving at 15 degrees an hour. We look at the stars with our telescopes at night, and they go flying past out of our view if we don't keep moving the scope at 15 degrees an hour, and that's because of the rotation of the Earth, of course. But the early folks who had the responsibility of writing down how the Earth was created didn't know these things. They were using the science of their day and the way things looked to them. And they were using the science of the Egyptians and the Babylonians and the Israelites and all that lived in the Mediterranean over there, doing the best they can, the best they could, doing the very best that they could. But now we know more about how things have been created. One thing that fascinates me is that when you go down into the depths of the ocean, where the pressures are unbelievably high, and there's water boiling and steaming out of the earth because of volcanic activity, and there we find bacteria living, and they form rapidly when these cracks open up, and they're put together from the very building blocks of our DNA, which scientists have found. When you go down to the crack and you look at the chemicals that are down in there, you find the 4 basic proteins that form the DNA molecule, and it's what we're made of, and that's what those little bacteria are made of. And the little shrimpies down there that gather up the bacteria and attach them to their back so they can feed on them, that's what they're made of, and they have to keep these bacteria warm and close to the source of those proteins that they're feeding on, and so that they can eat. So as long as the bacteria are fed and happy, then the little shrimpies have plenty to eat. And then there's little creatures around them forming too, that eat up the shrimp and all this sort of thing. And it goes on, and we eat the shrimp too, of course, various shrimp we eat. I'm a great shrimp eater. So, a great man told me one time, he says, "John, during the millennium, the Lord will tell us exactly how he created the earth. We do know that the scriptures say that man was created in a special creation in the Garden of Eden, and Eve was cloned from him. It was taken out. That means that she was cloned from Adam. And very, very interesting. We'll have to know how all these things took part. So my name is John T. Jones, as you probably guessed. And I started this HomeChurchInternational.org a long time ago to present lessons and activities so that families could use them and teach them in their homes, or when they're on vacation, or when they're away from the church that they belong to. Some people don't go to church, don't ever want to go to church, but they can read these lessons, and we're not a church. We're non-denominational. We're not even a church. I'm not a minister of any church called HomeChurchInternational.org. I'm not a minister of any church called HomeChurchInternational.org, because we are not a church. So enjoy the lessons. Enjoy this lesson about the creation. God bless you this day and yours. if you do have someone who is ill in your home, God bless you for taking care of them. I know that it can be a long, hard process. My wife requires a full-time caregiver, and when the caregiver's not here, I'm in charge. Like Saturday and Sunday and nights, and you know how it is. One day at a time is the way one fellow told me. He was taking care of his wife for so many years and all by himself, and when she had Alzheimer's disease. So I hope your things get better for you, and things are well for you. So let's get on with the lesson.